Action started in the Stamford Bridge sunshine. So off and underway then, Chelsea in the familiar blue to get us started here, playing from right to left in this first period and looking to set the standards from the start of the game, I guess, as they have done in this division over the last 6 seasons now, those successive championship titles that they've taken. It's the team who arrive, as mentioned, with big ambitions, and this is where they find out, London City Lionesses, just how far along the line they are, maybe. How close those new summer signings are to gelling as a team. They'll be tested today, all right?
Yeah, for sure they will. Just really interesting trying to work out the Chelsea formation. I've got 3 different options on the piece of paper in front of me. I'm not quite sure who's going to be where, but with this Chelsea team, so many players that can play all over the pitch, and that in itself is a huge challenge for London City.
That was going to be my first question, how are Chelsea lining up? I'll give you a little bit longer because, as you say, there are so many possible permutations, aren't they? The captain, though, Millie Bright, ever present at the back. She's played every minute of their season so far. Over a decade of service now in West London. And I would imagine that the formation will change with the ball, without the ball, and indeed as the game goes on as well. They have the options to mix it up, don't they, within the match? Yeah,
the game nowadays is so fluid, you know, in terms of shapes, and a lot of managers don't like to sort of nail down a shape that's really structured and rigid, and certainly...
And that was given away, and it opens up already, and somehow it's blocked on the line. And a huge early chance for Chelsea inside the game's first 2 minutes, and Erin Cuthbert couldn't quite capitalise.
Fantastic opportunity for Cuthbert. She'll be disappointed she's not scored, but fantastic defending, I think, by Sangare there for London City, clearing it from what was a very goal-bound effort.
Well, immediately the visitors advance with Godfrey up the other end, and just a shade too far in front of Isabel Goodwin. It does go from end to end already.
It does, an exciting start to the game. Brilliant defending at one end, and then an excellent counter-attack. And I just think Godfrey on the right wing here could have played it slightly earlier. We're just seeing a replay, of the Erin Cuthbert chance. Great first touch, but yeah, Sangare there, brilliant awareness to get in behind her goalkeeper to clear it off the line. And up the other end, I felt Godfrey could have played it slightly earlier to Isabel Goodwin, who was in a really good position in the middle. We know that she's got a great eye for goal. I think if she'd have played it 1 step earlier, Goodwin would have had a chance of getting on the end of it and testing Hannah Hampton in the Chelsea goal.
Very open start to the game. Sangare really undoing the damage, because it was her ball that presented Cuthbert with the opportunity in the first place, but she more than made amends with her vitally important intervention. Opens up again here for London City. And it's just pulled wide this time by Gioro. But they are getting openings already. And Chelsea uncharacteristically looking unconvincing at the back.
Yeah, it's almost like Chelsea aren't quite sure what formation they're playing. I think they're a back 3 with Millie Bright, Natalie Bjorn and Lucy Bronze, but a big gap opens up between Bright and Bjorn, who have been ever present so far. And Gioro, you'd expect to do better. She's got a goal in her. Seen that for France over the years. She would be disappointed with that effort.
Put herself in an excellent position there. Looking for her first goal for her new club. Last came for France against Germany at the Euro in the summer. One of those that was away on their international duty. London City Lionesses had 13 players representing their countries during the international break, 8 different nations. And of course, whenever there is an international break, there aren't too many left behind in blue, are they?
No, it's a very quiet training ground at Cobham.
18 players Chelsea had away. They do all appear to have returned relatively unscathed. And indeed, some of them, the likes of Sam Kerr, started twice for Australia, will benefit from those minutes. And Sonia Bonpastor has already said she's in a good place now to be ready to start again for Chelsea for the first time since that lengthy injury absence. But so much competition for places right now means she can afford to bide her time on the bench a bit.
Yeah, I was at the Wales-Australia game that Sam Kerr started, her first one in nearly 2 years, I think, or 3 years almost. since her last appearance for Australia. And yeah, she struggled to get into the game a little bit for me, and I think the form of Aggie Beever-Jones also is going to carry a lot of weight, and you can't drop her at the moment. She's absolutely flying for club and country, looks really dangerous.
Chelsea here with Baltimore. Beever-Jones ahead of her. Still is Sunday Baltimore. Get it back to her in numbers here of London City, but nobody could cut out the cross, and it will be turned in for the game's opening goal already. Ellie Carpenter is there to apply the finishing touch, and the champions hit the front inside the opening 6 minutes.
Yeah, fantastic work from Sunday Baltimore. I thought initially Fernandez had defended really well to stop her getting a shot on the goal, but in the end Baltimore shows her class, her patience, and then drives a really good ball across the face of the goal. Difficult one to defend, and Ellie Carpenter, who has had a flying start to her career at Chelsea. So much space out here for Baltimore initially, but Fernandez does really well to hold her ground and stop her getting a clear shot on goal, but just that quick shift away drives it across the goal, and Ellie Carpenter doing what all good forwards would do best. I think she's coming from a wing-back position there to score, but she's had a brilliant start to her career at Chelsea and should be delighted with that opening goal.
Her first goal in Chelsea blue for Ellie Carpenter. She played for Australia against England in the international friendly at Pride Park on Tuesday night. It's her first goal since scoring twice last season for Lyon. Has Chelsea ahead, taking advantage of that approach play from Baltimore. Lucy Bronze will score it in that aforementioned game against Australia. There's some defensive work to do. She will settle for that in the circumstances. Bragging rights for Ellie Carpenter in her household, because her wife, Daniela van der Donk, now of London City Lionesses, of course, hasn't been fit yet to make her debut. They're in opposition today.
Yeah, I think van der Donk will be a really good addition to this side when she is available to play. Obviously comes with a wealth of experience and winning things both here with Arsenal and of course in France with Lyon. Disappointing that she's not been able to get her career off the ground just yet, but maybe, I don't know, will there be relief that she's not coming up against her wife today? I don't know. Maybe they'd have quite liked it, I don't know.
It's Carpenter and Chelsea. They have reason to celebrate early on. No surprise given how the game has begun that we've seen an early goal, but really it could have come at either end. In the thick of things again, winning the ball back. With the return of Lucy Bronze to fitness for the first time since the Euro. A couple of brief appearances off the bench for Chelsea before getting the start for England. It's enabled Carpenter to play a little bit further forward maybe, reaping the rewards of that. Well, Cuthbert, as Giora just gets in front of her, tries to shepherd it away from danger. Assistance provided by Sangare. Good win. It's so hard for her side, we've seen that all season.
I really like Isabel Goodwin as a player. I think she's a great finisher, scored bundles of goals last season, but she offers so much to her team. Her hold-up play is excellent, her movement's really good, and as you said, she works tirelessly in that front line for her team. And the fact that she's started every game, played every minute, I believe, for this side, amongst all of that experience, just shows how highly thought of she is at London City, and you know, she's got a really bright future ahead of her.
One of hers that came up to the WSL with them after scoring 18 goals in the second tier last season. Dangerous ball over the top. Beever-Jones trying to make the most of it. Sangara doing enough to stop her. That is already developing, isn't it, into a key duel today.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. As I said, Aggie Beever-Jones in flying form so far this season, and she'll be looking to add to that tally.
Just teasing it through for Goodwin. Away from her by Natalie Bjorn. And Bronze. Knocked out here by Hannah Hampton. Baltimore. Feature in the last league game, the narrow win against Spurs, but was back in the side for their last match, the Champions League win here at Stamford Bridge against Paris FC. So they won by 4-0, their first victory in the league phase of that competition, having been held at FC Twente somewhat disappointingly in their opening game. Again, open the scoring against Paris from the penalty spot. She also scored from the spot in that game at FC Twente in the Champions League opener. They'll be sitting 6th in the league phase table after the first couple of fixtures. Caught by Baltimore here, it's asking a bit much of Beaver Jones. Sigare guides it back to Letta.
Starting to find a little bit of rhythm, Chelsea in possession, but there's always that worry with London City Lionesses. They've already created a couple of half chances before that opening goal. There's certainly been warning signs for Chelsea.
Space here. Carpenter to stride into. Having opened her Chelsea account minutes earlier, she's already in the mood for more, not quite this time.
Just doesn't quite catch it right. Good step from Millie Bright in the middle of the pitch to put pressure on Ellicott. She's got so much pace, drives forward, only one thing in her mind, but maybe seeing her name up in lights and gets it all wrong. Maybe a better option would have been to try and find a teammate, but the form she's in and having just scored, you can't blame her for having a go from there.
In that role right now, Chelsea ahead early on. Remarkable 31-game unbeaten run in the WSL, not since the 1st of May of last year, 4-3 at Liverpool. This side been beaten in this division. And they come again, Baltimore. Looks the player, delivers the cross again. It had to be dealt with. It becomes always the target in those sort of situations.
Heavily involved already, isn't she? Baltimore looks like she's got the bit between her teeth this afternoon. Going to give Fernandez a really tough game. Good defending at the back post by Linari. Had to get a header on that, as you said. Maggie Beaver Jones was ready and waiting, and the form she's in, you'd expect her to score. So important touch from the Italian there.
And goes the corner towards Lucy Bronze. Chelsea have another option in there in these situations now after her return to the team. Get another go. Wrighton waiting to take. Scored at the side that's taken the title in the last 6 seasons, but making only a second start of this one in the WSL is Guro Wrighton. Should have potentially have been cleared there, it wasn't. And it keeps the danger alive. Which is Wrighton once more. Now Cuthbert towards Beaver Jones. And Letta in goal, grateful to be able to grab it in the end.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy there. Not quite being able to get the ball away, London City, but in the end managed to see away the danger. But Chelsea look threatening. They look like they're getting into their stride a little bit, and having not scored too many goals this season by their standards, having got one so early, they'll be looking to add to that total, no doubt.
It'll be a big part of the target today for Sonia Benpastor and her team, certainly. 12 scored through their first 6 games going into this one, but the early opener today has given them something to build on. Players in blue finding space in this part of the pitch. It's a little overhit now. And Godfrey has it for London City. Keeping her place in the starting lineup, having come into the team for the win over West Ham. for the first start of the season. Now a permanent member of this squad, having joined in January on loan from Arsenal. Fernandez. The second leg for Spain against Sweden in the Nations League. They reached the final of that competition last month. Peter Paris looking at wider. There is Asllani. Lucy Bronze went with her. To find a foothold back in the game again, London City, aren't they, after the disappointment of the early concession?
Yeah, and before that, despite it being so early, they'd had a couple of half chances and would have been quite pleased with their start, I would suggest. But anytime you concede a goal, it is going to rock you a little bit, and particularly when it's against a team with the quality that Chelsea possess. You know that you're giving yourself a mountain to climb by conceding so early, but you know the quality they do possess and the experienced players that they have, they'll look to try and get their foothold back in the game and start making their mark again at the right end of the pitch.
Baltimore again. Still it will wait favourably for Goodwin. Slipping it through towards the run of Asllani, who makes her presence felt. Godfrey's ball in is only partially cleared. May get her another go yet, those in white. There is Fernandez. She'll ask the questions with the cross. It's comfortably gathered up in the end by Hannah Hampton.
London City Lionesses are putting Chelsea under some good pressure. You know, at times Chelsea trying to take too long on the ball, but they're getting high. They're pressing at the right time. You know, they know when to sit off, and then they really go for it. Godfrey on this right-hand side in particular has won the ball back once or twice. And we know with the work rate of Goodwin, we've spoken about it already, she's always going to put the back four under pressure when she gets an opportunity. So, yeah, London City, I think that is a good route back into the game, potentially for them. But when they get into those areas, they really need to make it count.
A reason for encouragement for the visitors. And what we've seen so far, but look at the space here that Baltimore is in. As we know, that really can spell danger. Comes back her way. Cindy Baltimore. Point for Wrighton. Baltimore, a player, of course, that Jocelyn Pressure, the opposing manager, knows all about, having worked with her at Paris Saint-Germain. Rivals, weren't they, at the top of the French club game, Pompastor and Pressure, in recent seasons, meeting in the WSL for the first time today. Pompastor, of course, yet to lose a domestic match in charge of Chelsea after last season's treble. Letta gets it back again. She's immediately established herself in the London City goal. Signing from Sociedad in the summer. Here's Millie Bright. Will step in here. It's Kirsty Dowie, by the way, who's in charge today. Not had cause to mention her yet. Free kick to the visitors.
Just a little bit of a robust challenge in the middle of the park by Guru Wrighton. Caught Lenari on the back of the heel, just misses the ball and sort of wraps her legs around them. I don't think there was any intent in it. It is a foul, and Lenari's just taken a little moment to get back to her feet.
It was a painful one for her, wasn't it? And a signing made by Jocelyn Pressure and his team that underlines their statement of intent for this season. Lenari with over 100 caps for Italy. Good part of Roma's side in the Serie A last season. The ambition under Michel Kang, all too obvious. And wherever she goes, she tends to win things.
She does indeed. A celebrity in the crowd there. Is it Megan Rapinoe sat next to Michelle Kang, enjoying the sights of London?
Star-studded occasion at Stamford Bridge today, isn't it? It's also hosted Chelsea's opening WSL game of the season, the over Manchester City. And of course, Chelsea play all of their Champions League home games here as well. Adding to the sense of occasion on this new derby day. Baltimore again. Subbed out fairly frequently in this first half. Wrighton goes infield towards Nusken. Carpenter brings it down beautifully. Support from Erin Cuthbert. Bronze, it was reached by Nusken ahead of Letta. Got on the end of it, just couldn't quite make it count.
There's a brilliant ball by Lucy Bronson, great build-up play on the right-hand side for Chelsea, and you think once she gets into that position, she's got good goal-scoring credentials, as Nusken making a late run into the box from that midfield position. Really cultured ball in from Lucy Bronson. The presence of Letta just put her off there. Gets the header all wrong and sees it sail safely over the bar, but an opportunity there.
Troubling the target from a position where she would certainly have expected to do so. Decision here. In the meantime, to the relief of London City. They've had a couple of scares in the last couple of minutes or so. Back again to Letta. Chelsea with 5 shots to 2 so far, and the only 2 on target in the game. And as you would expect, they have had a bit more of the ball. But Aslani charging that one down, and it required Hannah Hampton to come racing out of her goal to get there first.
Good goalkeeping there by Hannah Hampton, always on her toes, and we've seen now for a long time she's very adept with her feet, almost plays as an outfield player at times, the way she can pass a ball, and very much had to be the sweeper keeper there.
Yeah, huge part of her game, isn't it? Dealt with it well. Throw is taken by Fernandez. Held up by Goodwin. A little bit too much pressure being applied by Cuthbert, according to the referee, as Rascioro goes down. Talked about big individual battles, that's another one, isn't it, in midfield?
Yeah, it is. I think Giora used all her experience there, just aware that Cuthbert could get away. Steps in front of her, in between Cuthbert and the ball, and wins the free kick for her team in a really promising position from a London City Lionesses point of view.
Plenty of options for them here. Goes into a packed penalty area. Well defended initially. It was Bjorn who won the first ball. Still the danger though. Fernandez. And awkwardly, and again it's Natalie Bjorn who was on the end of it. Still be required a third time yet. Chelsea will be relieved to hear the whistle. Flag is up and the scare is survived.
It's an interesting tactic. A few balls going into the box from London City, but the quality's not quite there at the moment. Isabel Goodwin's an obvious target with her height and presence in that area, but most of them are sort of on the smaller side, so the ball's going to have to be really accurate to cause problems when you've got 3 centre halves, as Chelsea have at times this afternoon. It's going to have to be a really good ball, so I wonder if we might have a change of tactic, try and play into the box a little bit more rather than the big crosses.
3 clean sheets for Chelsea so far through their first 6 games in this division. Have answered the questions asked of them for the most part so far in the game's opening quarter. Pastor's team still leading thanks to that 6th-minute goal from Ellie Carpenter. Already Chelsea's 8th different goal scorer in the WSL this season. They've been sharing them around, haven't they?
They have, yeah. I mean, Aggie Beever-Jones out there on her own with the 4 goals so far. I think it's only Lieke Kaptein, who's got more than one other than Aggie Beever-Jones, so they're certainly looking to share the load. You know, we're so used to Sam Kerr dominating the goal-scoring charts for Chelsea. They had to do without her for so long now that other players have had to step up to the plate.
Well, they have some defending to do. Nikita Paris for London City. At the back doing her defensive duties. Bronze is able to clear. Whiten can't quite reach that. Maggie trying to keep it in, succeeded in doing so, but it's Chelsea who may profit from that. Letter is there to clear.
Really good defending again by Sangare there up against Aggie Beever-Jones. Zanushkin looked for her early, it was a good ball. She's just used her strength to allow the goalkeeper to come and clear it and not let Beever-Jones get on the end of what was a promising attack.
There's Sangare again. Been heavily involved in the story so far as the centre-back. Still only 19, slotted straight into the London City side, on loan for the season from Lyon. Second straight start in all competitions. Seems again with further work to do, helped out by Letta. Comes now for Kumagai. Paris. Too many options immediately available to Hannah Hampton here. London City trying to press high. They do like to have the ball. They've had the greatest share of possession in all three of their wins so far. The defeats have all come when they've had less of the ball. But dominating it here at Stamford Bridge is a tall order, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I think, as you said, the games that they haven't won have been against three of the big four so far, and this is obviously being the biggest of those four. It is a difficult task to dominate the ball against teams of that quality, but you can see the way they want to play. They do want to play out from the back, up through the thirds, you know, and getting everybody involved in possession, regardless of the fact that they're up against the very best the WSL has to offer.
His ball forward, looking for the run of Aslani, nearly came for Goodwin. Warren still with work to do. Baltimore. Ending off Yana Fernandez, or attempting to, and will win the free kick in the process.
There's a good win. If she was just on her toes ever so slightly, I think she expected Aslani to win that challenge. The ball almost fell to her. Lucy Bronze did really well to come across and snuff out the danger, but it looked a split second that Goodwin might well have been in on Hannah Hampton's goal there, but just caught on her heels ever so slightly after the press from Aslani again.
Continuing to cause Chelsea issues, London City Lionesses. They lost 4-1 at Arsenal in their opening game, 5-1 at home to Manchester United in their first home game. The other defeat was 4-1 at Manchester City, but they have won the rest. And of course, those defeats came early when they were still very much finding their feet. An entirely new squad really put together since promotion. There aren't too many that were involved in that title-winning team that have been regular starters this season. So even if they don't end up with any points today, they'll certainly want to see proof of progress in the performance, and I think that's been evident, hasn't it, in the opening half an hour?
It has, but I think you can see the way they play, because they want the ball, because they're quite expansive in possession. That does leave them open, and against
Carpenter with the cross, dangerously towards Muskin.
Yeah, sorry, against the better teams you will be punished, and that has happened, as you said, with quite high score lines against those sides. So today will be how much have they learnt from that.
There goes Goodwin on the charge. Didn't have Godfrey in the middle, it was just a fraction in front of her. But Freya Godfrey will reach it, try and keep the danger alive here, try and keep the pressure on. Moro couldn't quite get a foot on that. But the attacking intent is evident from London City Lionesses.
It is, there's no suggestion of sitting back and trying to defend. already a goal down. They know they need to get themselves back in it, but good, powerful, strong running from Isabel Goodwin. Freya Godfrey just couldn't quite keep up with her.
Beaver Jones taking on Sangare, who stood her ground. Wherever Aggie Beaver Jones goes, it seems that Wessa Sangare isn't too far away.
Yeah, she's impressed me so far in the opening half an hour or so. Sangare in the heart of that London City defence, and she's definitely been tasked with looking after the informed player in this Chelsea side.
Really bright to have a hit. Well, caught it pretty sweetly there. It wasn't too far away from the Chelsea skipper.
She's got previous, hasn't she, from distance, Millie Bright. Not so many with her left foot, I would say, but not a bad effort. And you know, striding forward from centre back, given some space, why not have a go? But never really troubling letter in the London City goal.
"15 goals she has in Chelsea colours down the years over that last decade or so. It would have had to be spectacular from there, it nearly was. As it is still just that early goal from Ellie Carpenter, the difference. Goodwin is the one causing Chelsea problems though.
It's a really clever ball across the front there. Godfrey just couldn't quite keep up with the long stride that Goodwin has. And she's powered her way forward. He almost wanted two of her, so she could be in the middle and on the end of it as well.
Trying to turn provider on that occasion. Did get both of the goals, did Goodwin, in the 2-1 win at Everton recently. The only goals of the season so far. Second season since her signing from Sheffield United. As Baltimore delivers the cross. Comes through for Letta. Unchallenged in the end, but it's one of those where any sort of a touch just prior to that and it might have been a different story.
Yeah, really clever ball from Baltimore again. First time, just tries to whip it into that area, and as you said, any touch could have made Letta look quite silly there, but she gambled and it paid off, was able to collect it unchallenged. But any touch, I think it was Nusken running through, that could have ended up in Chelsea's second goal.
I certainly feel they need another, Chelsea, given the way this first half has gone. Certainly half an hour or so. Godfrey. Goodwin had made the run, Hampton had come and just about got there. Only just. Hannah Hampton's heart would have been in her mouth for a moment.
Yeah, looked for a second there that she may have made the wrong choice, but just about edges to the ball in time. Goodwin again proving a nuisance, full of running, full of strength and promise, but Hannah Hampton just about does enough.
Decisive goalkeeping won't be required again here as Aslani delivers the cross, and Goodwin wasn't quite sure just for a split second or so where it was. It very nearly fell at her feet.
Chelsea looking a little bit unsure in possession on this left-hand side in particular, giving it away a few times where they've been under pressure. Aslani does really well, but Goodwin and Paris almost getting in each other's way in the middle, and then doesn't quite fall to either one of them to get a shot on goal. But some really promising moments in the last few minutes for London City Lionesses, and the longer the game stays at 1-0, the more they'll feel they've got every opportunity to get back in it.
Yeah, they've had a number of nearly moments, haven't they, in this first half already, as Fernandez takes the throw. They'll keep the pressure on here. Aslani. Fernandez. Now with Freya Godfrey. Combining with her fullback. Nusken for Chelsea, trying to switch the play. Trying to relieve that pressure to a certain extent. Didn't quite come though for Carpenter over there. London City have it back with Cresciora. Fernandez. Names that just trip off the tongue really, showcasing the quality in which they have invested since promotion in that huge statement of intent. Chris was saying before this game, we are in this league to play teams like Chelsea. Of course, we want to take on the champions, and they are taking the game to them just at the moment.
They are indeed, and you've got to give him and his staff all the credit for how they've set the team up this afternoon. And you know, they're good players they've signed. Even in the championship last season, the types of player they were able to attract, they've got a clear vision and a project that players are buying into. And the longer the season goes on, the more I think we'll see performances that not only look good but end in really positive results against top teams as well. I don't think it'll be too long, and there's no sign of them just settling for staying up. It's a totally different outlook to the other teams that we've seen promoted in recent seasons, and you know, that's down to Michelle Kang and what she's doing with her side, and the not just the squad they're building, but the staff around that squad as well. It's full of quality and experience.
The ambition is all too obvious, really. And 3 wins already, as many as we mentioned, as the last 2 newly promoted teams, Bristol City and Crystal Palace, could manage between them in the last 2 seasons. And that isn't the fairest of comparisons, really, is it? Given the resources at their disposal, given the ambition and the backing that they have. And they're under pressure here. Carpenter, the goal scorer, gets it back from Cuthbert. Annie Carpenter's cross, Wrighton trying to reach it. Able to turn it goalwards, but still the danger. Back by Baltimore, all the way across goal, just a fraction in front of Aggie Beever-Jones. Chelsea suddenly stepping up their search for the second.
Yeah, and that's what they can do. They can turn it on at any given moment, and what I'm really enjoying about Baltimore and the way she crosses the ball, she can cross it from any angle. You feel like she hasn't got any space to manoeuvre or to get a cross in, and yet she seems to deliver a pinpoint cross every time.
Just for a moment there, it looked like Kosovo Aslani was going to have some space through the middle as well. It was quickly closed down by Chelsea. And they had to be alert. Paris, who is down, and the card is out in the meantime, by the way, for the first time this afternoon from Kirsty Dowie, who has let the game go when she can. Reaching for her pocket this time. It was Cuthbert's challenge, wasn't it, from behind? Always risking a caution, I guess, in that position.
Yeah, and I think the position that Nikita Paris was in as well, on the break, looking to set her team on the attack. I think that's a stonewall yellow card. I'm not sure Aaron Cuthbert agrees, but for me that is the right decision from the referee.
Aaron Cuthbert, the first name taken. There's Fernandez for London City. With a deeper delivery towards Paris, and it did get that far. It couldn't quite make it count up against Lucy Bronze, acknowledging though the attempt to pick her out from there.
Yeah, nice build-up again coming from this right-hand side. Fernandez drifting a lovely ball over Lucy Bronze's head, who doesn't look too bothered about it at the end of it, but Nikita Paris, half a chance. Would have been difficult to score from there, but perhaps looked to head it back across goal to one of her teammates.
Oh, and there's the chance, which is over the top from Goodwin. It did fall her way and snatched at it somewhat, maybe. It looked like the referee was content to let that continue.
Yeah, Chelsea trying to play out again. Into Nuskin, takes a heavy touch. Great pressure from Gayoro, and that's the moment Izzy Goodwin's been waiting for. And put her money on at least hitting the target there, but gets it all wrong. Great challenge from Gayoro on the edge, gets a toe on the ball, and Goodwin just flies it over the top of the bar. That's a real let-off for Chelsea.
That's a big chance, isn't it? And for all this London City pressure that we've seen, and there has been a bit of it in the course of this first half, that was maybe the clearest opening that has come.
I think it shows, though, that the London City Lionesses game plan is working. They're trying to put them under pressure, and Chelsea don't look overly comfortable playing out from the back, so that's an opportunity, but you just wonder how many times Chelsea will let them have that. You don't want to rue those missed chances.
That's continued her run, having taken the pass from Kira Walsh, who we've barely mentioned yet, actually, and that's surprising at this stage. Walsh hasn't quite had her usual influence, maybe, on the game yet.
No, and I think that comes from how high London City are starting, you know, particularly when the ball is at Hannah Hampton's feet. They're pressing quite high. They don't want Kira Walsh to get on and dictate the play from that position she loves so much at the base of that midfield. They're sort of squeezing her out of the game a little bit. She can playmate from that deep role with the shorter passes, but also a great range of passing longer than that. If they can stop the source, then that's potentially a route to stay in this game.
Fascinatingly poised, isn't it, as we enter the final 5 of the first half. Open to heavily involved, back for bronze. Point is intended. Against former England colleague, of course, in Nikita Paris over on that part of the pitch today. Moran will take the throw. Nigerian international looking for options down the line. Get another go, having advanced a few paces down the touchline. And once again, Chelsea having it far from their own way. That has been something of the story of their season, despite dropping just those 2 points so far in the draw with Manchester United. They've found a way in every other game. Not necessarily their fluent best, not necessarily with the same ease that we're used to seeing from this side.
Yeah, and it's always hard after a tournament summer as well.
For Godfrey. So the Lionesses keep on coming.
I think with so many players at the Euros from Chelsea's squad, they're coming back in a sort of disjointed pre-season for a lot of their players, particularly those involved in the latter stages of the competition. It's not easy to get going, but also the opposition, the quality of the league is going up all the time, and the level of coaching put into these players, it is making life difficult. When you are a Chelsea, you have to find ways to win, you have to find ways to beat the low blocks or to beat the teams that come out and press you. You're not going to have it all your own way anymore, and you know, this London City side are a testament to that.
Keep the pressure on with the corner. Aslani takes it. Not the most threatening in towards the near post. Element of risk in there as well, though, and Aslani is on the end of it once more, and it came through for Linari to have a hit. Wide it went, with Sangare still down. It was half a chance for Linari in there, and well, they're still appealing, London City, about the challenge on Sangare in the first place in the penalty area.
Yeah, I think there's a shout for a penalty there. Initially, Nusken doesn't get... It's a coming together. Nusken doesn't get a great touch on it, but Sangare does win the ball, and then I'm not sure how much of it Nusken gets. She does go through Sangare. It's one of those, it's difficult to give, and without the luxury of VAR in this league, it's one that the referee's probably going to be reluctant to blow the whistle for, because she can't be 100% sure, but there was a slight hint, and my initial reaction was that could be a penalty.
I certainly understand the appeals. A tough one to give, you're right. Good moment at the back again for Chelsea, though, who advance themselves now with Baltimore. Godfrey with defensive work to do. Millie Bright to get the pass here for Nusken. Walsh working it wider. Here's Carpenter. Defending from Imuran. I think they've just prevented the concession of the corner as well there.
It's a good battle out there on that London City left, Chelsea right. Carpenter started the game at full throttle. Imuran seems to have tamed her somewhat in recent moments. Just seeing another high replay of that challenge. It's so difficult to tell if Nusken gets a touch on the ball. Certainly, I think she would have been worried as Sangare went over.
She'll be relieved to escape that situation. Nusken. Big talking point late in this first half. It started so well for Chelsea, but they've not been able to extend that 6-minute lead provided for them by Ellie Carpenter. And the more frequent chances really since then have come at the other end. Moro, who's down for London City at the moment.
The disappointing thing from a London City perspective is they've got in really good areas, but more often than not it hasn't actually ended in a shot on goal, and certainly not one that's going to trouble Hannah Hampton. So that's the next phase of their performances. Right, we're getting in the right areas. How can we now start creating more chances, clear cut or otherwise, and start, you know, testing that back three and Hannah Hampton, get some shots on target.
Yeah, still without one, aren't they, in this first half, despite 6 goals that they've had at goal. And 45 minutes up, but this current break in play means it will be extended by a little longer than otherwise would have been the case. And there's a bit of concern over Graschioro here. As you would imagine, given that the pedigree that she arrived with in the summer, has rapidly established herself as a key member of the Lionesses side. Initially just the one added minute, but we are yet to start that. And though did start so well for Chelsea.
They showed all their attacking quality in that move, right from the back to front. Baltimore does really well to engineer some space and drive a really brilliant ball across there and finish brilliantly from Ellie Carpenter at the back post.
Excellent goal, wasn't it? Remains the only goal. Scored by Carpenter on the losing side for Australia at Pride Park against England on Tuesday. Game in which Australia played a player short for much of the match after Alana Kennedy was sent off. She's on the London City substitutes bench actually this afternoon. There's Kennedy. So a further minute on for additional time. We're into that now. It does look like Chelsea will take this lead into the interval. Bjorn to Bronze. Back three, as it has been for most of the game, has worked pretty well.
Yeah, just in these opening stages of the half, they looked a little bit open at times, but seemed to have tidied that up a touch, particularly between Bjorn and Millie Bright. The gap was a bit too big to begin with, but definitely settled into consistent shape now.
Indicating the throw over there. Yeah, with the players of that quality, that experience, they soon got to grips with the switch-in system. But on another day, London City Lionesses will feel that they could have had a goal or two in this first half. As it comes to its conclusion, though, they do still trail. They have since the 6th minute. So London City Lionesses to get the game restarted here. Again, they are still very much harbouring hopes of taking something from, despite the early concession. Not yet been able to undo the damage, but they have given Chelsea plenty to think about. Alan Ward is alongside me, Phil Blackett, before this one, and it's an interesting Chelsea change at the break, isn't it?
Yeah, you wonder if there might be a slight injury there to Baltimore. She did look a real threat on the left-hand side for Chelsea, and of course was integral in the goal itself. But on the flip side, you could look at it as London City Lionesses also looked their most threatening down their right-hand side, which was up against Baltimore. So maybe it's a defensive tactical substitution. Neve Charles, obviously a more defensive-minded player. Perhaps that's come into the thinking, or maybe it's an injury, or maybe it's a little bit of both. Who knows?
Either way, it's a very useful replacement to be able to call upon at this stage. Neve Charles. The second half for England against Australia on Tuesday as well. Also on at the break at the Bridge today for the Blues. Baltimore having set up that early Chelsea goal, which featured, as we saw at half-time in the highlights, very frequently in the final third. And no great surprise really that Jocelyn Precheur has sent the same 11 back out again. Happy enough, I'm sure, with much of what he's seen so far. With Aslani. Moran. Swing the cross in. It's Charles who was underneath it. With back to goal. Didn't quite have the room to manoeuvre, but wasn't going to give up on it either. Fernandez. Get to have a hit here, but it was watched wide by Hannah Hampton in the end.
Wrong decision for me from Fernandez there. She's seen the space open up in front of her, but I think Godfrey on the right alongside her was the better option to try and work it out there before getting it into the box. But it does open up, doesn't come under any pressure. Millie Bright sort of hesitant in coming to press. There was an opportunity there, but for me, a difficult position to score from, particularly when you look at losing goal for Chelsea.
For the first goal in English football. particularly close to finding it, the former Barcelona player on that occasion. Wrong for Dioro to immediately get back involved in the heart of midfield. Really important role to play. And here come Chelsea. Deflects behind for the corner. Lenari. Hoping to prove that she can be as effective as Baltimore further forward as well as defensively.
Yeah, getting straight into the thick of the action. Niamh Charles in winning that corner for her team. Lenari wasn't under too much pressure, but the pace of the ball just meant she couldn't do much else with it.
So Cuthbert to take the corner kick. Scored directly from a corner, actually, for Scotland against Morocco last week during the international window. Not quite this time, but there is still a danger. Skimmed off the head of Lenari. It wasn't convincing, and Chelsea applying some pressure in the early stages of the second half.
Yeah, an interesting decision to sort of flick that behind her rather than trying to get a clean head on it. Maybe just mistimed the jump there, but I felt she could have got a head on that and tried to clear it away from danger, but instead skims off her head and goes out for a corner.
And taken this time by Wrighton from the right with the left foot. And we'll get another go. From the back, Wright and Bronze are obvious targets in there, and this time it goes into a much more dangerous area. Huskin to try and retrieve it. Carpenter, he's still forward in blue. Wrighton brought it down beautifully. The cross when it comes is straight through to the goalkeeper this time and gathered up by Alina Letta.
Fantastic touch from Wrighton, but I think she would have preferred to put it on her left foot rather than her right. She didn't quite have the whip on it as she would have done with her stronger foot.
He's featured more frequently off the bench for Chelsea in the WSL this season. Guro Wrighton, until today, making just the second start of it. Against Japan on Tuesday as well. So many options though for Sonia Bonpastor. Here's Fernandez. This time opts against the shot. Godfrey wider. Taking on Charles here. Knocking it through. In the end, again, it was fairly comfortable for Hannah Hampton. One of those where there'd been a touch to it. I don't think it might have been extended.
Yeah, decent enough effort. It's going to be tough to beat Hannah Hampton from there, but as you said, if you get a touch from an attacker or even a defender in those situations, anything can happen. Look confident going at Niamh Charles 1v1. And I think still it looks like the right-hand side is the way to go for London City in this one. It's where they seem to be getting the most joy, and that trend has carried on in the second half.
Possibilities. It's the side that they're having to try and defend here. Before the intended switch of play didn't quite come for Carpenter. Now Ellie Carpenter has it, courtesy of Cuthbert. Lucy Bronze. And again. It is with time though to get everybody back behind the ball again now. It's reorganised defensively. Only the bottom club West Ham have conceded more goals in the WSL coming into this weekend. And the Lionesses, in the main, to those three heavy defeats suffered against Arsenal, Manchester United and Manchester City. Carpenter. Forward for Beaver Jones. You're getting back to it. With what you have to do.
Sort of strong game in there, Dioro for London City. Tracking her run as well. Good in possession too. Very much having to be switched on defensively here. And her strength to see Aggie Beaver-Jones off.
Scored in her first 4 league games of the season. Beaver-Jones. England in the week as well. From the corner kick up until ball for Cuthbert, which just skips away from her. Really, but not quite again for Chelsea. And we said that before where both teams are concerned in the final third today.
Yeah, nice idea, but for me, I felt Kira Walsh could have taken a touch and possibly had a shot or crossed it from where she was. I think she had a lot more time than she knew. Tried to play it first time to Cuthbert, but just got too much on it. Would have looked lovely if it came off, but for me, I think she could have had a touch and assessed her options.
Walsh was the match winner in the last league game against Spurs, got the only goal just past the hour. Had to be patient on that occasion at Kingsmeadow, did Chelsea. Got off to a flyer today. But unable really to build on that yet. They've had the more frequent looks at goal in the second half so far, albeit one still in its relative infancy. From Tristan Pressure before the game that he would be expecting to make all of his substitutions today. He's going to need everybody. Players that finish will be as important as those that started the game. He hasn't yet turned to his bench. So many options on there though for London City. This is the depth of squad assembled. 17 players they signed in the summer. They get the free kick here with Nikita Paris going down. Been on the receiving end of some pretty tough treatment at times today, hasn't she, from a player she knows well?
She has indeed, but she's always willing to put herself in positions, wants to get on the ball, and when you do that and when you're a player like Nikita Parrish, you're going to invite those challenges.
Maybe Chelsea making further changes though. Jean-Francois is going to come on in place of Luskin in midfield. These changes. Hannah Utin-Kanarid is also likely to be introduced down there. And he's going to have that one big chance in the first half next way. And Wrighton being replaced as well. Utin-Kanarid has been a regular starter for much of this season. And indeed started both legs of the Nations League semi-final in Sweden against Spain. Maybe part of the reason she didn't start this one as well today, but plenty of time to make a difference.
Yeah, she's an excellent player. It's, again, another couple of fantastic options off the bench for Chelsea. Talked about squad depth. It's so important now with the ability to make 5 substitutes in the game since those COVID times. It does make for, you can almost change it, you know, you're changing half a team. Can really change a game.
Options here for London City. Almost forced wider than she might have wanted, but she will reach it against Lucy Bronze. Support from Imoran. Fernandez. Sangare. Lyon. Sonia Bonpastor had that hugely successful spell in charge, and indeed as a player previously. Short on subplots today. Godfrey taking on Bray and getting the better of Millie Bray. Freya Godfrey didn't quite come for either Goodwin in the middle or Paris beyond her. Then will reach it, still the danger maybe with Aslani here. Chelsea forcing the visitors back a little bit in possession. There goes Imoran. Another nearly moment for them though.
Yeah, Freya Godfrey does brilliantly out there on the touchline against Millie Bright. Just flicks it inside her, and then I think she's caught in two minds whether to have a go herself or whether to cross it, and then doesn't really do either. Puts it at an awkward height for anyone and into a gap where there's no London City forwards. A real opportunity, does so well initially. And I think given the opportunity again, she'd potentially have a strike at goal herself. It did sit up quite nicely for a volley there.
He will have been tempted. Godfrey, they do have the free kick here though, just in from the touchline. Aslani to take it. Still hasn't been dealt with. It nearly came on a couple of occasions for Kumagai in there. That nearly word again. quite relieved about the earlier one. Chelsea's lead is certainly looking a slender one at this juncture.
It is. It's been a decent opening 12 minutes for London City, trying to keep pressure on their opponents. Look, the team more comfortable at the moment, despite being 1-0 down. Certainly piling the pressure on that Chelsea backline.
There's Godfrey again. It's just going to run away from her this time. Godfrey, the Championship title-winning team, on loan last season when she joined halfway through it from Arsenal. 3-year contract she signed to make that permanent in July. For the Arsenal Academy. But Jocelyn Pressure's team certainly still giving as good as they're getting. Eva Jones has a bit of good ground. Giora going with her, but still the danger. We can kind of read. Eva Jones comes here for Erin Cuthbert. Wider is Carpenter. It's an important block by Imran to prevent the cross going any further.
Well defended in the end by London City there. Moran getting the final block, but Giora again working back defensively. Looked like her touch had just set it forward once more for Chelsea, but they get back in numbers. Credit to their work rate.
So Cuthbert to take the latest corner. Such a good area, but nothing at the end of it for Chelsea other than frustration. It was always just a bit too high. From Bjorn up from the back. Season. Goals in Chelsea colours, yet to open her account in the current campaign. Despite the fact they have, as we mentioned, had 8 different goal scorers in the WSL already. It's only match day 7. Carpenter got her first for the club earlier in the piece. It's continued to feature prominently since then. Finds Lucy Bronze now. Interesting to see if Bronze goes the distance today. Just a couple of brief appearances off the Blues bench before her first start of the season this afternoon. Did get those minutes and that goal, of course, for England in the week. Jean-Francois.
If anybody's capable of lasting the distance after time out, it would be Lucy Bronze.
Very true.
She was very resilient, but there's no need for Sonia Bonpastor to risk it if she feels it's going to lead to any further complications in terms of injuries. But with the game poised as it is, and only that slender 1-goal lead, she'll like to keep as many leaders on the pitch as she can, and of course Lucy Bronze is certainly one of those.
Very much so. And the London City Lionesses managing their first attempt on target now in this second half. They've edged ahead in the overall shot count, 7-6. Still not too much in it possession-wise either. Chelsea is, as you would expect, with a bit more of the ball. It highlights just how finely balanced this game is right now.
It does, and I think it shows how far London City have come in the, after that first period of the season. They're really growing into a good team to watch, and a team looking capable of getting results.
Carnarid. Carpenter. Back for Ritin Carnarid. Eva Jones in the middle. Big block in there. And then Fumago trying to bring it away. Didn't get too far though. Carpenter's won it back here for Chelsea. Eva Jones. The battle continues. She still comes away with the ball. Not quite then for Niamh Charles, but the referee's pulled it back for the earlier one. Jones taking some stopping in those sort of situations, and the yellow card is out for the challenge, which unfairly did so.
Yeah, obviously really well known for her goal-scoring exploits, but Eva Jones' general play today has really impressed me. She's great with the ball at her feet in tight areas, likes a turn. You can see by the state of her legs, she's covered in bruises and cuts, and shows how involved in a game she gets. The Chelsea forward, and Aaron Sangare having a brilliant battle, and on that occasion she gets the better of her counterpart and wins a free kick.
She's mistimed it, Sangare, that time around. By the merest of margins, the ball had already gone though. And into the book she goes. First London City name taken by referee Kirsty Dowie today. And Chelsea with the opportunity to apply some further punishment of their own, perhaps. Cuthbert and Beever-Jones in consultation over what they're going to do from here. And the possibilities are plentiful. And left for Beever-Jones. After the build-up, high over the bar it goes.
Not quite the execution she was hoping for, and not quite the execution we saw during that international break, where she scored a fantastic goal in a not too dissimilar position, if I remember rightly. And yeah, didn't get that one quite right. It's almost, again, caught in two minds whether it was a chipped cross or a shot, and ended up being neither. But yeah, she's been excellent again today, Beever-Jones, but she will want that goal, as all forwards do. They judge themselves on the numbers, and at the moment she'll be desperate to add her name to the score sheet.
Just a split second, sensing her opportunity there as the ball came across the penalty area. Can't capitalise on it. Scored in the first four for Chelsea this season. Hasn't actually scored in the last four for Chelsea going into today in all competitions. Somewhat surprisingly, given the season that she's had. Target, as I mentioned, for the Lionesses in midweek. She came off a little early in that game. It was an injury doubtful today, but only briefly. So straight through for Valletta. Dead leg, I think, in midweek, and returned to training in time to feature this afternoon. They need the second though, Chelsea, don't they? They're pressing and probing a little bit now, but still not quite the end product.
Yeah, I think they realise that they can't just sit back and settle for what they've got, because London City Lionesses are not going to lie down. They're going to keep that pressure on. They're going to keep playing as high up the pitch as they can. So for Chelsea, I think the best form of defence will be to attack and to try and get that second one, because that really will knock the stuffing out of their opposition.
Kana in here, taking on Linari. With support from Carpenter, who's the one that provides the cross. Had work to do to deal with that under pressure. Just couldn't quite capitalise, Erin Cuthbert. There's the defender that made it more difficult than it might have been.
Did indeed. Carpenter again showing her quality out wide, delivering a dangerous ball. I think she may have been offside before she received it though, but another opportunity almost there for Chelsea nonetheless.
Sally Francie, who is on for London City in place of Freya Godfrey. Has featured prominently as Godfrey, but her part is played now, heading towards the midway point of the second half. And the Finnish international, Francie, who was involved against Denmark actually in the Nations League this week. Scored against Crystal Palace in the League Cup earlier in the season. Comes into the action. Chelsea in the ascendancy at the moment. Here is Cuthbert. The challenge came in from Sangare. It was an important one. Cuthbert's taking up some advanced positions now, looking a real menace.
Yeah, she looks like she wants to drag her team through and try and finish this game off for them. Lovely first touch inside onto her left foot, but again Sangare with a brilliant block for her team, and not allowing it to test Lette in their goal. Fantastic challenge.
For the first time today, as Sangare's concerned.
Yeah, she's been excellent, apart from that misplaced pass right at the start of the game, which she then more than atoned for with the block. She's been a real presence for them at the heart of that defence, and it's almost two players at either end of the experience spectrum, and her centre-back partner in Linari, but really doing herself the world of good in terms of her reputation today.
And the possibilities here for Chelsea. Again, Sangare is the one standing in the way. Another number in the end that were back in the box in white. And further damage done. And Charles this time just able to make something happen from there. It's a little more prolonged though, isn't it, from Chelsea at the moment?
It is, yeah. They're having a good spell. London City struggling to get out of their own half at times. Still wanting to play out from the back.
And that was risky. Beaver-Jones trying to make them pay, not quite. Only one thought on her mind when it came the way of Aggie Beaver-Jones in that part of the pitch.
Yeah, again, almost like I predicted what was going to happen there. Just playing into dangerous areas. Gauro not ready for the pass. Lovely one-touch from Niamh Charles into her strike partner. He's got such great feet on the turn. Just couldn't quite bring the shot round onto the target. It's another half chance for Chelsea.
Some lovely footwork, wasn't there, from Beaver-Jones? Not quite the finish to match this time. So into the closing quarter we go. And still that very early Chelsea goal, the only goal. See just how much more time Chelsea have been spending really in and around the opposition penalty area in this second half than London City have managed at the other end. There's been a notable shift.
There has, and I think the substitutes for Chelsea, they're bringing on quality. I think Ritin Kanerid's had a positive impact in the game. Guru Wrighton did well enough, but I think Ritin Kanerid brings a different kind of challenge for Chelsea. Likes to get in those pockets, got great pace, and she's on the ball again now.
And some space in which to operate as well. Kanerid taking on Linari. Good enough up against her, but has conceded the corner. Much by way of respite for London City at the moment.
Just starting to look a little bit tired, some of their players. Linari walking off rather gingerly after that challenge on Ritin Kanerid. Just looks like her legs are feeling it a touch, and they will when you come up against these teams, and that's why the manager was suggesting he'd need his entire bench today.
It's corner. Goalkeeper gets a glove on it. It did fall favourably for Kira Walsh. I think a bit of a swing at that first time, and how wide it goes.
Doesn't look the biggest, Lete. She does really well to get a punch on that, but falls nicely to Kira Walsh. Should hope to do better from that position, the quality that she's got. She want to hit the target, but sails harmlessly wide. But London City still insisting on playing out the back.
Not modified that approach, have they, despite one or two scares, some of which have been of their own making. Now he's capable of much more for that type of territory. Score of the only goal in the last league game against Spurs. Excellent strike that was as well. It needed to be in a match as tight as that was. Here come Chelsea again. Ritin Kanerid starting to see a bit more of it since her introduction. Funded well by Imran.
Drifting out to this right-hand side, isn't she? Ritin Kanerid finding some spaces, but did well by Imran there. The London City left-back, she's had a tough game from start to finish, but she stood up to the test pretty well for the most part.
Mix of youth and experience at the back for London City Lionesses. Options in reserve. Signs of this defence tightening against the top teams. Another away win in the WSL came at Everton in September. 3 wins in the last 4, home and away, coming into this after the difficult start that they had. They have another London derby to come next weekend at home to Spurs, and of course Chelsea go to Arsenal. It's one of the big ones of any WSL season.
2 really big games there. I think it'll be an interesting match-up. Spurs have obviously had a great start to the season as well. London City just finding their feet too against those top teams as we're seeing today. So that'll be an intriguing test for them. And then of course Chelsea Arsenal never disappoints, does it? Both teams looking to challenge for silverware on all fronts this season.
We'll slip through here for Goodwin. Out comes Hampton at the feet of Izzy Goodwin. And Millie Bright is able to come away with the ball. It just does underline the fragility of the Chelsea lead, though.
That's that's a half a chance there, maybe even more than that for Izzy Goodwin. I wonder if she could have taken a touch round Hannah Hampton and looked to draw the foul possibly, but great goalkeeping from the England #1 to snuff out the danger.
In for Carpenter, no yet for Lucy Bronze. Back on the ball in blue. Trademark intervention really from Hannah Hampton, wasn't it? And Chelsea looked to take advantage at the other end with Carpenter's ball in. Charles reaching it, but no more than that. The goalkeeper to thank at the other end a moment earlier.
Yeah, really good goalkeeping. It looked for a moment that Isabel Goodwin was just going to get round there, and I think the speed that Hannah Hampton was coming out, the option really was to take a touch and either get round the other side to finish it or to draw a foul from Hannah Hampton. But Hampton, credit to her, she comes out really quickly at the feet of Isabel Goodwin and closes down that space and manages to save the shot.
She certainly wants that 4th clean sheet of the season. They kept 13 of them in the WSL in the previous campaign. Now again, further evidence of Chelsea's remarkable riches. Sam Kerr continues on the comeback trail, and it will be the goalscorer that makes way for her. One Australian international replacing another. Carpenter coming off, her job done, her first Chelsea goal scored. And Sam Kerr, who has a century of them in Chelsea colours, including on her first appearance in 634 days when brought off the bench to get the goal against Aston Villa a little earlier in the season. Did get 2 starts for Australia in the international window, which will certainly have helped her return towards full fitness, and she'll fancy getting involved in the closing quarter of an hour or so.
She will indeed. I think it's just brought Britain Kennerid out to the right wing-back position. Sam Kerr taking her place up front alongside Aggie Beever-Jones. But yeah, those 2 matches in the international break would have done her the world of good, particularly as they were both in the UK against Wales and England. It took away the usual travel issues that Australian internationals have to face. I'm sure Sonia Bumpastor will be delighted with that, especially with Ellie Carpenter being in there too. So it's a really good opportunity for her to build up that match fitness, and yeah, we'll see how much it's helped in these closing stages.
Sonia Bumpastor in close consultation with the Australian coaching staff. I'm delighted at the game time that Kerr got, as you say, the lack of travelling that was involved as well. The whole of last season through injury, that ACL in training at the very start of 2024. She has come on now in 6 games in succession in the WSL on the comeback trail. The flag goes up here.
Yeah, particularly lengthy spell out. I mean, ACLs are never good for anyone, but Sam Kerr really struggled to get back within the usual time frame, suffering a few setbacks, but good to see her back on the pitch, and I don't think it will take too much now for her to get on that goal scoring trail that we're so used to seeing her. You know, she scores goals, and once she gets back into that rhythm, regular minutes, regular game time, I'm sure she'll add more and more.
Just enough on that, back for Hampton under pressure. Bronze can clear. London City readying changes. Chelsea doing the treble without losing a domestic game last season, without having Sam Kerr available at all, of course. Relative luxury now that she is ready again. But here come the visiting changes. Julia Rodar is going to be introduced, we think, in place of Nikita Paris. We'll see in a moment. Yeah, Paris making way. To a certain extent on the fringes today, and Crescioro is being replaced here as well. Swedish international. And for the 6th time in the WSL this season. Her only start came in the defeat against Manchester United. This is a notable change as well. The introduction of Poppy Pattinson on debut. Hasn't played because of injury since April. Joined in the summer from Brighton. So we'll get a little while to try and have her say today. Titles keep on coming for the Lionesses.
As indeed. Delighted to get someone of Poppy Pattinson's quality on the pitch.
Up for Chelsea, dangerous territory. Did have options as well. Pattinson straight into it, up against her. See Bronze with the throw. To Beaver Jones. A lot of movement in the middle. Patient in the build-up though from Chelsea. It's a painful one for both players. Certainly, Ruthie Connerid indicated she had an issue straight away, but not the only one.
Just suffering from a
cramp, maybe.
Bad case of cramp there, yeah.
more than a bit of cramp, actually, by the looks of things there.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling, though. It's just something, it's so painful. And until you get that relief. Yeah, just got a caught Ruthie Connerid, I think, a little bit, and then as she's done that, she's obviously stretched it out, and yeah, she's really struggling with that, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to have to come off.
They just made that double change, but another might be required here. Jocelyn Pressure, have a look at it. Certainly see why Ruthie Connerid was hurt. Two immediately indicating that she had the issue. The decision will have to be made fairly swiftly, whether she can carry on or not. And towards the last 10 minutes now, this first ever league meeting between these clubs. They do have a little bit of previous, by the way, in the cup competitions. Last meeting, a 5-0 Chelsea win at home, FA Cup 4th round. Some 5 seasons ago, there were 6-0 winners in the League Cup with Chelsea in 2015 as well, but this is, of course, a very, very different London City Lionesses team and setup these days. It's a bit more promising for Rafiat Imoran.
Feel really sore to begin with, but once you get that stretch and that relief, quite often you can carry on, but what you don't want it to do is to lead to anything more serious. Don't want to tear any muscles, not at this stage in the game. It's such a huge part of the season still to go. Important run up to Christmas now. Trying to make sure she's absolutely right before she comes back on the pitch.
Big stage of the season, isn't it? Relatively early still, it may be. Temporarily down to 10, and wait to see whether she will return. Chelsea looking to take advantage in the meantime. Lucy Bronze did well to deliver the cross. Really came for Neve Charles over there. London City are going to make a change. She's not going to be able to continue, or the decision made that she shouldn't anyway. Lotta Lindstrom is being readied. Type of player, of course, who will come on for the closing stages. Against Denmark last week, albeit in a 6-1 defeat in the Nations League. Part is played. She has played it impressively today. Had a lot of work to do. Nice curve for Chelsea. Bjorn. At the end of that, though, and that's to an extent been a recurring, frustrating theme for Chelsea at times today.
It has. That final ball's just been a little bit lacking, whether that's been down to the quality of Chelsea or the competency of London City and how well they've defended their box for the most part of this game. You know, they're still looking, 8 minutes to go, still very much in things here at Stamford Bridge. And we're looking to try and get a point out of this, which, given the chances they've created, you wouldn't say it wouldn't be deserved.
Chelsea still on course to equal actually what would be a club record. Got 14 consecutive London derbies without defeat in the WSL. They hold that record themselves. They best managed it between 2018 and 2021. Be surprised from here if they don't go on and reach it this afternoon. The last 21 home derby games in this division as well, not since Arsenal's 5-0 win in October of 2018. But they lost on their own territory against another club from the capital.
It's a formidable record, that's for sure, and one that they're not going to want to let go. That's the concentration needed from here on out.
Particularly in this moment. Safety first from Charles, taking no chances with an important clearance. Waiting to take the throw. Have a little wait here because there's activity on the touchline again. That is Vika Kaptein. He's going to come on in place of Aggie Beever-Jones. Certainly put another shift in for his side, but that is 5 Chelsea games without a goal now for Beever-Jones after 4 in the first 4 this season. Has had a hugely influential role in the side again though, but Kaptein on for the closing stages.
Yeah, I think she's had a really good game, but she will, as any striker would, be disappointed in a game where she's not got herself on the score sheets. Had 1 or 2 half chances to do so. But she's put in a really good shift for her side. The longer she goes without a goal for Chelsea, though, the more it will weigh heavy on her.
A bit of space here for the visitors. And it's not threatening. Promising positions, no end products. That's been something of the story.
Yeah, getting themselves into really good areas. Fantastic touch from Aslani there to put Lindstrom in. Just couldn't get enough on that cross to trouble Hannah Hampton, and Chelsea really needed to drive it with some pace, if not clip it towards the back post, but they sort of dribbled it into the hands of Hannah Hampton, who would have been more than grateful to soak up that pressure. But that was half a chance again for London City that's not ended in a shot on goal.
It's notable involvement for Lindstrom since she came on, coming off the bench for the 5th game. To start one in the WSL. Season at the club, though, she is one that did come up with them, having initially arrived from HJK in Helsinki. Kept in by Bronze here, towards Kerr. Jean-Francois is underneath it when it came down again. So many of these players in opposition today are colleagues for their countries. And we talked as well of the battle between Sonia Bonpastor and Jocelyn Pressure in Liga Feminine. They also contested, didn't they, a Champions League semi-final season before last.
Yeah, it's always fascinating when those sort of rivalries on the touchline come together, but I think both managers in a strange sort of way will be relatively pleased with their sides this afternoon. I think from a Chelsea and Sonia Bonpastor point of view, she'll be pleased should they see this through to get another 3 points and potentially a clean sheet. On the flip side, London City will be pleased with the way they've handled themselves against the country's leading side.
Conceded at least 4 and losing games against Arsenal and the 2 Manchester clubs. So away at the home of the champions here, to be still in the game at this stage is a step forward. They still will feel maybe there might have been more for them, and certainly on that particular occasion, Poppy Pattinson was hoping for more than she got.
Yeah, Etin Kennerid just... Oh, she's right, Poppy Pattinson as well. Kennerid plays it off the London City number 3, but it reflects back onto Kennerid.
Most threateningly. Really fair for London City. They would have felt aggrieved had anything come of that.
I feel with the assistant referee being so close and on that side as well, disappointed they've not picked that one up.
Bronze. It does appear that she will go the distance. Should never have doubted her.
Chelsea could be in trouble if she doesn't. So they've used all 5 of their substitutes now.
Absolutely. Decision has been made by Sandra Bonpastor to leave her out there on the first start of the season.
I suppose in the position she's played today as the right side of that back 3 has potentially saved her legs a little bit, not having to get up and down quite so much as she would from that full-back position we're so used to seeing her in. Used all of her experience and quality going forward at the right time, supporting from behind more so than those overlapping runs that she loves to make.
She has ball in hand here, looking for options in blue. The last of the 90 minutes now. Chelsea edging towards another vital victory. And they wrap it up with the second. Still a chance perhaps, just wasn't quite able to get a shot away. Capti at the end of that. There's Lani for London City. And they are still getting forward in numbers. In search of something right at the end. Pattinson's ball in, was only partially cleared as far as Kumagai. That's well worked in towards Goodwin. And the door was just about closed in time to deny Izzy Goodwin a clear side of goal.
Well, she'll be disappointed. She's had a couple of really good chances this afternoon. That one in the first half that she put over. And that one there, it's a good ball in from the right-hand side. Just can't get her foot around the ball, knocks it onto her standing leg. It goes behind for a goal kick, but that's the difference in this league, is you don't get many chances, so when you do, you've got to try and put them in the back of the net.
5 additional minutes from here, separating Chelsea from all 3 points, and a 6th win in 7 at the top of the Barclays Women's Super League. No great hurry. And given how open the game was at the start, I'm surprised there's still only the 1 goal in it. That might change right at the end. Etin Kennerid with a chance to wrap it up, wasn't far away.
No, Route 1 football from Chelsea is coming back into fashion, isn't it now? Direct from Hannah Hampton, great flick from Sam Kerr. Etin Kennerid running in behind, but just can't get a good enough strike on the ball. Just about defended well enough by London City, but that was another chance.
This could be one at the other end as well for the visitors, as Lani lifts the cross in. Really dealt with by Hannah Hampton. And then just grab hold of it again in the end. Hold on to it. They are going to the end, our Precious team.
Credit to them, they're still going. Chelsea won't be happy. They're allowing London City those opportunities still at this late stage in the game with the score so tight. Sandra Bonpastor will want them to close up shop a little better than they're doing at the moment.
That's the conclusion. Plenty packing the penalty area here, or arriving as well. Pattinson is on the end of it. Comes through for Hampton. Had to just readjust her footing a little bit. So with that measure of composure that we're used to seeing from her, but this isn't the way that Chelsea would be hoping to close out the game.
No, they'd want to have possession, they'd want to slow the game down. Those channels in behind the wing-backs are proving difficult for Chelsea to defend. Again on that right-hand side, Millie Bite being dragged out to areas where she doesn't want to defend. The ball falls to Poppy Pattinson, and she might hope that she'd do better in that situation.
Halfway through stoppage time. This one going the distance. Still just the 3 goals conceded in the WSL all season by Chelsea. Best defensive record in the division. And it has come under some threat this afternoon. London City are capable of creating chances and causing that defence problems. They've just not been able to apply the finish though. Maybe that final ball as well has been a little lacking. Kerr will try and chase this one down for Chelsea. Lionesses come a long way and got there first. But it comes back the way of Kerr or Pattinson, and that'll do it! Instinctive. Sam Kerr off the bench, 2-0 Chelsea. Fortunate how it came her way, but she was always going to make the most of it, surely from there. And only now, in the final moments of the match, can Chelsea celebrate with certainty.
Yeah, that is Sam Kerr in a nutshell for me, causing problems, not letting anything go. A long, hopeful punt forward by Erin Cuthbert makes life difficult for the goalkeeper. Initially you feel he's done quite well, but Poppy Pattinson just not able to control it as it comes to her, and Sam Kerr absolutely alert for seconds, as any good striker should be. Looks up, sees the keeper off her line, takes a small deflection, I think, off of one of the London City defenders' heads, but I think it was still going in, and that is exactly what Chelsea would have wanted.
Sam Kerr in stoppage time with her second of the season, having scored on a comeback off the bench against Villa to bring up the century in Chelsea colours. Another one today, just to finally provide a little bit of breathing space at the end, because until that moment it was still in doubt, wasn't it? Chelsea weren't looking overly comfortable at 1-0, which was enough for them against Spurs in the previous game. They've made sure today, courtesy of Kerr. Final seconds now, London City Lionesses have to keep their heads up. Some tired bodies out there, they've put so much into this. They've tested the champions today, certainly. Ultimately the champions doing what champions do.
And now you're seeing a bit of confidence from them, wanting to see the game out, keeping the ball out here on the touchline. More composure, it's taken the life out of London City really, that second goal. They were right in it, as you said, up until that moment. Credit to them.
Reed providing the cross. The launch was by Sankare. And that's full time. It's another win for Chelsea. It was far from straightforward for Sonia Bonpastor's team at